I never believed in ghost stories. Or at least, I didn't used to. My name is Ethan Parker. I'm a truck driver. My job takes me down long, lonely highways, where the only thing keeping me company is the steady hum of the engine. For thousands of miles, it's just me and the open road. But on one particular trip, I found myself on a stretch of asphalt that shouldn't have existed. It all started with a simple detour. I was on a routine haul, heading south to Jacksonville, when the GPS just glitched. 1 minute, I was on the interstate, cruising along. The next, it had rerouted me onto this narrow 2-lane road in the absolute middle of nowhere. The signs I passed were ancient, rusted and faded, most of them completely unreadable. But there was one that stood out, one that I could make out clear as day. It was a simple wooden sign, weathered by time, and on it were 3 words: Dead Man's Road. 15 miles. I actually laughed. Seriously, I did. I've driven through places with names like Skull Valley and Devil's Backbone. To a trucker, it's just another quirky name on a map. But as I drove further, that initial amusement faded, replaced by a strange feeling in the pit of my stomach. Something just felt wrong. The air grew heavy, the kind of thick, humid stillness that comes before a bad storm. I don't know what made me keep going. Maybe it was morbid curiosity, or maybe it felt like some kind of cosmic dare, like the universe was challenging me to see where this forgotten road would lead. The trees on either side were tall and imposing, lining the road like silent, skeletal soldiers standing at attention. The further I drove, the quieter it got. Not just quiet, but silent. A profound, unnatural silence. 5 miles in, I realized I hadn't seen a single sign of life. No birds chirping in the trees, no squirrels darting across the asphalt. Not even the rustle of wind through the leaves. It was just the soft, rhythmic creak of my truck's suspension and the sound of my own breathing. The world outside my cab felt like a vacuum. It was unsettling. By the time I hit the 10-mile mark, the road itself seemed to transform. The pavement, which had been worn but smooth, was now cracked and broken. It felt like I was driving over bones. And then I saw it. A thick, soupy fog was rolling in ahead of me, not drifting, but advancing like a solid wall. It was bizarre. The sky above was still clear, but this fog was crawling out of the woods, blanketing the road ahead. I couldn't turn the rig around, not on a road this narrow. It felt deliberate, like the fog was boxing me in, forcing me to stay on this path. There was no choice but to press on. I flicked on my high beams, their powerful lights barely piercing the dense white curtain. The world was reduced to the 20 feet of broken road directly in front of my truck. And then I saw something. A shape in the distance, a small, dark figure standing by the side of the road. My heart jumped into my throat. Who would be out here, in this? As I got closer, the figure didn't move. It didn't react to the sound of my engine or the glare of my headlights. It was a man, dressed in dark, old-fashioned clothing, standing perfectly still. He wasn't thumbing for a ride. He wasn't even looking at me. He was just there, staring straight ahead into the fog. I slowed the truck to a crawl, my mind racing, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. And then, my headlights illuminated his face. It was covered in deep, pockmarked scars, like his skin had been ravaged by some terrible disease. And his eyes, they were empty, completely hollow, like 2 black holes staring into nothing. Primera pudo ver, the engine's low rumble, sounding like a nervous growl. My hands were trembling as I reached for the door handle. To this day, I don't know why I did it. It was the most irrational decision of my life. Maybe it was that same weird curiosity that got me here in the first place. Or maybe it felt like I was being pulled towards him by some invisible string. I stepped out of the truck, and the fog immediately swallowed me. It was cold and damp, and it muffled all sound. I could barely see my own hand in front of my face. I called out, "Hey, you all right?" My voice sounded weak, absorbed by the mist. No response. I took a few cautious steps toward where I'd seen him, the cold air gripping my skin. Then I heard it, a whisper. It wasn't from the man. It seemed to come from all around me, carried on the fog itself. A single, chilling phrase. Leave. Now. I froze, every muscle in my body tensing up. The whisper came again, louder this time, more insistent, almost a hiss. Leave. Now. Pure, instinctual terror took over. I didn't think, I just acted. I spun around and sprinted back to the truck, fumbling with the door handle, and threw myself inside. Slamming it shut, I locked it. As if that would do any good, I sat there for a second, my chest heaving. The fog began to recede. Not quickly, but pulling back slowly, deliberately. But the feeling of absolute dread didn't leave me. I could still feel the man's presence out there in the mist. Watching me. I didn't wait to see if he was still there. I slammed the truck into gear and stomped on the accelerator, tires screeching on the broken asphalt. My heart was pounding against my ribs like a trapped bird. For the next few miles, everything felt blessedly normal again. The fog lifted completely. The road straightened out. The silence was replaced by the familiar sounds of my truck. I didn't see the man again. I thought I was in the clear, that the nightmare was over. But as I reached what should have been the end of the road, my blood ran cold. Up ahead, I saw a sign. A simple wooden sign, weathered by time. Dead Man's Road, 15 miles. I had been driving at a good speed for at least 45 minutes. But somehow, I was right back where I started. Impossible. Panic, raw and overwhelming, set in. I was trapped. I whipped the truck around, tires screaming in protest, and drove in the opposite direction, praying for an exit, a crossroad, anything. But the road didn't end. It didn't change. It just stretched on, endlessly, like I was caught in a perfect, horrifying loop. And then, the whispers started again. Not just one voice, but many, all around me. You shouldn't have come. I honestly don't know how I finally got out of there. The memory is a blur of terror and the endless, repeating road. The next thing I clearly remember is waking up with a jolt. I was in my truck, parked on the shoulder of a highway I didn't recognize. It was daytime. The sun was high and bright. It felt like waking from a terrible fever dream. I looked at my phone. No recent calls. No messages. Just a notification from my map app. No route available. I'm back home now, trying to piece my life back together. But I'm not the same. Every night, when the house is quiet, I hear the whispers. They're getting louder, more distinct. And I've stopped looking in mirrors. Because every time I do, I catch a glimpse of someone standing behind me. Someone who looks just like me, but with hollow, empty eyes. Thanks for listening. If you've ever had an experience you can't explain on the road, let me know in the comments. Stay safe out there